In this travel guide, we're diving deep into one of the world's most breathtaking road trips, Scotland's North Coast 500. If you're dreaming of dramatic landscapes, ancient castles, pristine beaches, and the wild beauty of the Scottish Highlands, then buckle up because we're going to cover everything you need to know to plan the perfect NC 500 road trip. Let's dive in. The NC 500 is a spectacular 516-mile circular route that starts and ends in Inverness, winding its way around the stunning northern coast of Scotland. We drove this legendary route in the anti-clockwise direction, starting off by heading north to John O'Groats, then turning west, traversing the very top of mainland Scotland, then heading south and snaking along the rugged coastline to the Applecross Peninsula before looping back to Inverness. You'll find accommodation all along the NC 500 route with a diverse range of choices catering to all budgets and styles. You'll find everything from hotels and charming bed and breakfast to cozy glamping pods and scenic campsites. So hotels and bed and breakfast, you'll find a larger selection of these around towns like Inverness, Ullapool and Dornoch. Glamping and pods, these are incredibly popular along the route, offering an outdoor camping experience with more comfort. Campsites, if you're traveling in a camper van or tent, there are loads of campsites from basic to those with full amenities, and places like Sango Sands Oasis have amazing views from the campsite. You can visit the NC 500 all year round, but let's be honest, the best time to visit is in the peak season in summer between June and August. You'll get long daylight hours with sunset as late as 10:30, warmer temperatures and all the attractions and activities in full swing. However, it is the busiest time, so expect more crowds, higher prices and full car parks in the busier spots. The shoulder season, which is also worth considering, spring between April and May, and autumn between September and October, which is the time we went actually. This is the sweet spot with fewer crowds, with decent weather and stunning scenery. So in spring brings new life with blooming wildflowers and green meadows, while autumn explodes with incredible autumn colors. But the weather can be variable, ranging from sunny days to miserable days with rain and wind, and most likely all three in the one day. So keep that in mind. Winter is November to March. This is obviously the worst time to travel here. A lot of places will be closed for the season. There can also be snow and ice on the roads, with some sections may even be closed. But there is hardly anyone here, so you'll have the whole place to yourself. The NC 500 is a driving route, so you will need a car, motorbike, camper van, or some other form of wheeled transport. So obviously a car is the most popular way to get around, giving you the freedom to park and explore pretty much anywhere you want. If you live in the UK and you own your own car, you can drive up to Inverness and start the route from there. If not, you can fly to Inverness and hire a car from the airport like we did, which is perfect, so you can pick the car up and drop it off at your point of entry. If you own a camper van or motorhome, this offers the ultimate flexibility for accommodation and cooking. However, be mindful that some of the roads are challenging and not suitable for larger vehicles like the B869, the Drumberg Loop and the Bielak Nabar. But there are alternative routes if you're not confident driving on these roads. You can also look into hiring a camper van from Inverness as well if you fancy that. The NC 500 is a motorcyclist paradise and a fantastic way to experience the route with its winding roads, open landscapes. We saw loads of motorcyclists on the route and it looked like loads of fun, so if you are a motorcycle enthusiast, if it wasn't already on your bucket list, add the NC 500 to it. So just for general awareness, there are loads of single track roads with passing lanes. Please drive carefully and take your time and be aware of your surroundings and courteous to other drivers. Finally, we're at the part that you've all been waiting for, the itinerary. We would recommend spending 5 to 7 days exploring the NC 500. Any shorter and you really are missing out on a lot. We did it over 6 days and spent the 7th day hiking Ben Nevis, and having that extra day on the NC 500 would have been perfect. So here's our suggested 7-day itinerary going in the anti-clockwise direction. So we have a mixture here of highlights that we stopped at and some others that we missed due to time, so feel free to adjust to suit your preferences. Day 1, we leave Inverness and make our way north to John O'Groats, where we'll stay for the first 2 nights. You can also split this up and stay in the Wick area if you don't feel comfortable covering all that ground on the first day. Our first stop though is in the Black Isle at Shannonry Point for a chance to spot bottlenose dolphins, where the best time to spot them is on the rising tide. Still in a Black Isle area, we drive onto Fairy Glen Falls, a beautiful little woodland walk with 2 waterfalls along the trail. Next, we're feeling a little bit hungry and stopped in at Dornoch, a charming little historic town with a beautiful beach and cathedral, and depending on what time you stop there, you can have some breakfast or lunch, or for us, it was brunch. On to our next stop, which is Big Burn, another beautiful woodland walk through a lush, stunning green gorge, finishing off at another waterfall. Just a short drive from Big Burn is Dunrobin Castle, a fairy tale-like castle with stunning gardens and a daily falconry displays. Be aware there is an entry fee to visit Dunrobin Castle. Last stop of the day is just another short drive up the road, is Cairn Laith, an Iron Age fortified home that is a really cool piece of history that has stood the test of time. Day 2, we're going to explore the northeastern corner of mainland Scotland and do a little bit of backtracking, where we head down to Walligo Steps, where we descend 330 steps down a cliff face to a historic fishing harbour. Here there are some beautiful dramatic views of the coastline with an epic waterfall that plunges over the cliffs into the ocean. This was one of our favourite stops on the NC 500. Our next stop is Castle Sinclair Gurnigo, which is a ruined castle that is perched on some cliffs with dramatic views of the coastline. There are also some other castles in the area that you might want to visit if you have time. Castle of Old Wick and Old Keys Castle. We head back to John O'Groats to see the iconic signpost marking the furthest point northeast from Land's End in Cornwall, which is the most southeast point in mainland Great Britain. Our next stop is just a few miles east at Duncansby Head, the most northeasterly point of mainland Great Britain. There's a theme here. Here there is a walking trail that takes you down to the Duncansby Stacks, a group of dramatic sea stacks that rise over 60 metres out of the ocean. Last stop of the day is Dunnet Head, the most northerly point of mainland Great Britain, offering incredible views of the coastline, the Orkney Islands, and there's also a historic lighthouse here. Day 3, we're going to wind our way across the very north coast of mainland Scotland, where we'll find some of the best beaches on the NC 500. Aim to stay somewhere in the Durness area. We stayed in the Old Shawmore area for 2 nights, but we think if we had our time again, we would stay only 1 night, and on the second night stay further south around the Achmelvik Bay or Loch Inver area. Our first stop is Dunnet Bay, which is just a little bit past where we finished yesterday. This is a beautiful long sandy beach, and if you're camping, there is also a caravan park here that would have been a perfect stop for the night before. Feeling a little bit peckish, so we stopped for breakfast at a place called Turso, which is a historic town that's known as the Gateway of the Far North. Here there's many cafes and bakeries and also a decent sized supermarket to stock up on food. Onto Strathy Beach, which is a beautiful sandy beach. This is a great place to take a stroll, enjoy the beautiful scenery, and to explore the rocky, cliffy area to the right of the beach, where you can explore caves and find hidden beaches. This place is a real hidden gem. We keep heading further west along the beautiful coastline, crossing the Kyle of Tongue, which is a large sea loch that is crossed via a bridge and causeway. Halfway along the causeway there is a car park where you can take a quick stop and take in the views. Along this stretch we'll also pass a couple of other points of interest like the Ardnecki Lime Kilns and the Carnabenny Beach, a stunning white sand beach. Our next stop was Smoo Cave, a dramatic sea cave with a spectacular large entrance. You can explore part of the cave and go into an inner chamber and see a waterfall cascading down inside of the cave. This place is absolutely beautiful and definitely a must stop on the NC 500. Last stop of the day is Sango Sands, a stunning white sand beach with turquoise waters that will make you think that you've been transported to Thailand. Here you can also find the famous Sango Sands viewpoint for amazing views. And once again, if you're camping, the Sango Sands Oasis is right here overlooking the beach. Day 4, and today we're going to explore the northwestern area with our first stop being Kyle School Bridge, a modern architectural bridge spanning a channel that connects multiple sea lochs. It's a great photo opportunity that's just a short pull off on the side of the road. Then we're on to Wailing Widow's Falls, probably the most beautiful and powerful waterfall on the NC 500. It's fed from Loch Nagamich and pours into a dramatic gorge below. Just 5 miles down the road we have Ardrek Castle, the picturesque ruins of a 15th century castle sitting on the shores of Loch Asynth. This castle was the former stronghold of the MacLeods of Asynth. A place we didn't go to that looks pretty cool is the Bone Caves, which are some caves that are located high up on the hillside with amazing views of the highlands. Akmelvik Beach is another incredible white sand beach with turquoise waters. And if you're feeling hungry, head to Lochinver, a picturesque fishing village famous for its pie shop. So we stopped in here for a pie at the Lochinver Larder and even bought one back for dessert. And if you have time, make sure you check out Old Shore Moor Beach, voted one of the best beaches in Great Britain. And the best thing here is there are no crowds or sun lounges, but you may struggle to find a beer though. Day 5, we're going to continue our journey south where we're going to stay in the Gairloch area. So there isn't too many stops today, just a lot of driving on slow, windy roads but with really beautiful views. So our first stop is going to be Knockencrag National Nature Reserve. This is an important geological site with a short hiking trail with some of the best views of the Scottish Highlands on the NC 500. There are loads of interpretive signs along the trail telling the geological history of the area. Next we pulled into Ullapool, which is a lovely little fishing village where we had a little poke around town and then tried out some seafood at the very popular Seafood Shack, and it was delish. After lunch we hit up Corrishalloch Gorge where there's a short hike that takes you out to the spectacular gorge where there's waterfalls that pour over the edge of the gorge into the rushing water below. It is absolutely spectacular. This place really surprised us. And there's a couple of other places that we didn't stop at that we thought we should mention. Inverary Garden, a unique botanical garden that flourishes in the Northern Highlands thanks to the Gulf Stream. Loch Marie, which is supposed to be one of Scotland's most beautiful lochs. It's surrounded by mountains and dotted with little islands. And we finished up the day in the Gairloch area staying at a small Airbnb. Day 6, we're going to wind our way south along the Applecross Peninsula and go on a little detour to see an epic castle. Our first stop of the day is Loch Torridon. Here there are some nice viewpoints overlooking the loch with its beautiful mountain backdrop, and there are also a number of hiking trails in the area if you fancy that. We continue our way south along the rugged Applecross Peninsula. This is a really beautiful stretch of road with loads of pullouts to stop and admire the views. Eventually you'll make it to Applecross Village, a charming little town that's a great place to stop for a bite to eat or grab a pint in the pub to steady your nerves for the next section. The infamous Balloch na Bar, Scotland's third highest road pass with hairpin turns, a steep grade. This is a true white knuckle ride but with incredible panoramic views. Our last stop of the day is the Eilean Donnan Castle. This is a bit of a detour from the NC 500, but it's well worth visiting one of the most iconic castles in all of Scotland. Where you stay on day 6 really depends on what accommodation you're after. Are you camping or are you staying in a hotel? So I'm going to mark an area on the map and just aim to stay somewhere in the marked area. Day 7, this is our last day on the NC 500, where we'll make our way back to Inverness, stopping at Rogie Falls, a beautiful waterfall that is a good place to spot leaping salmon. So once you arrive back in Inverness, you can explore the city a little bit, visit the Inverness Castle and walk along the River Ness. So that's it. You have completed the NC 500. This is just a taster. There are countless stops and hidden gems, distilleries, hiking trails and local eateries to discover along the way. Alright, so we now have some travel tips for you. So our first tip is to plan ahead. This is really key. Book your accommodation well in advance, especially in peak season. If you leave it too late, it really limits where you can stay and the prices will be through the roof. Don't rush, take your time and enjoy the beautiful views on the journey. While we recommend 5 to 7 days, allow more time if you can. There are so many stops along the way and trust us, you'll want to see them all, but have a plan, be flexible, take things day by day as things can change. Like our next tip, be prepared for the weather. The Scottish weather is famously unpredictable. It could literally be sunny one minute and rain the next, so pack layers, waterproofs and sturdy footwear even in the summer. Make sure you're always fueled up. So petrol stations can be few and far between, especially in the more remote areas. So keep an eye on that fuel gauge and fuel up whenever you can so you don't get stranded in the middle of nowhere like a lemon. Download offline maps. So phone signal can be patchy in parts of the Highlands, so make sure you have offline maps available to navigate, especially if you're hiking. You do not want to get lost in the middle of nowhere. Food and drink. So even though there are loads of restaurants and supermarkets dotted around the NC 500, keep in mind some of these places are remote and there isn't many options available to eat out, or even supermarkets can be few and far between. So make sure you look into these options around where you're staying, as there might not be any around and it might be more convenient to pop in at the supermarket and grab some food on your way back to your accommodation. And that's our NC 500 travel guide. We hope this guide helps you plan the ultimate NC 500 adventure and that you have as much fun as we did exploring the area. So don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more travel content, and let us know in the comments if you've done the NC 500 or if it's on your bucket list. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure.